Hello, everyone. This is Esther Kane. Welcome back to episode 13 of the Aging in Place Directory podcast. I'm so very happy to have you here. Today, we're going to discuss a new phrase that I found. It's called environmental gerontology. And you may be thinking, oh, it's all about, the environment. Or, oh no, she's going to talk about climate change. Well, that is going to be part of environmental gerontology, but there's actually a lot more to it. I'm not sure if it's a new subfield of gerontology, because some of the concepts that I'm going to be talking about, I have been doing them since I have been in occupational therapy for many years. And I think it's something that OTs have done, since almost the beginning of OT. Well, maybe not, but for many, many decades. So, but the point of environmental gerontology is that it really discusses the physical and the social environment on the aging process and how that impacts physical, mental, and cognitive health. So the environment and when I say environment, I'm talking about, whatever is around you, be it the home, be it the community, be it the quality of the air, whether it's a sunny day, a rainy day, all of those issues play a significant role in shaping anyone's individual health, well-being, and quality of life, but especially in older adults. So while genetics, of course, plays a role in all of our lives as we age, environmental factors are actually very significant determinants of how individuals age. It affects both the onset and the progression of age-related diseases and eventually your overall longevity. So there's a phrase often used when discussing environmental gerontology, and that phrase is person-environment fit. Now, that's the concept that I think OTs have been working off of for decades. And the concept is basically fitting the environment to the person. You don't often fit the person to the environment, although it's possible, but I think it's much easier to fit the environment to the person. And that means everything from, enhancing the layout of the home so that it can accommodate any mobility issues the person may be having, utilizing adaptive equipment like hearing aids to overcome hearing loss issues, anything like that can be placed in the environment to help the person. So this person-environment fit is really basically about aligning the two so that the person is safe, comfortable, and can live a good, long, independent life. I mean, a good fit obviously is going to enhance well-being and independence, while obviously a poor fit can easily lead to increased stress and a decreased quality of life. So I'm going to go over three categories in this issue of environmental gerontology. One of them is physical environment. The second is social environment. And then the third is about the environmental stressors. And then eventually what can be done, for that. Now, the physical environment includes things like housing. Obviously, at the Aging in Place Directory, we're all focused on aging in place, universal design, the whole idea of making the home as user-friendly as possible, as safe as possible, so you can be comfortable and live independently for as long as possible in that particular home. So the physical structure, the design, the layout of a person's home easily affects their ability to age in place. I mean, a home with stairs is not going to accommodate a person that has lost their ability to be mobile without a mobility device such as a walker. Unless, of course, you modify the environment to add a stair lift or a residential elevator. Or you can move the master bedroom and master bath onto the main level and basically convert a two-level home to one-story living and use the upper level for something else, by someone else maybe. But also adding things like grab bars, non-slip flooring, adequate lighting, all of those are issues that can make the housing environment safer for anyone. Doesn't necessarily have to be someone who's aging. The neighborhood is also another physical environment factor that's involved in environmental gerontology. And that means walkable neighborhoods with easy access to stores, restaurants, other amenities, parks, abilities to go to social engagements, anything like that, events even. I chose my particular environment that I live in because it is walkable. I live in a cluster home community, so there's individual homes, but they're not far apart. So I don't have to maintain my yard, be it a small yard. The community maintains that. I have neighbors nearby, but they're not directly next door, on top of me, like you would in a townhouse. It is a two-story home. Very difficult to find one-story homes here in Georgia, but it is a two-story home. But at the moment, I can access that, and I am making plans for when I cannot. The point is to make plans and to have a home where you can make those plans. But I can walk to shops. I can walk to restaurants. I can walk to a 6-mile greenway. I can walk to 2 parks. And there are many events that occur in the park, 5-minute walk from me. And, my friends are also nearby. So it's a community, and it's intergenerational, which means it's not a 55 plus community. We have all age groups living in this community, which makes it more like a community versus a retirement community. But of course, that is a personal preference to you. But for some people, having intergenerational communities nearby or living in one is more mentally stimulating than not. Certainly up to you. Each person is individual in that. But the neighborhood that you live in is very important. Now, if you live in a rural area where you're on a farm on 10 acres and there's no one around you, and you prefer to be solo, you prefer to have that type of isolation, that's certainly up to you as well. If that is comfortable to you, but it may not serve you well as you grow older and to the point where you may need help. And it also may be extremely jarring to then move from an environment like that to then have to move to a nursing home or assisted living type of environment where all of a sudden you're surrounded by so many people. It is such a huge contrast. So there is an argument to be made about gradually, slowly moving towards that. Physical safety is another physical environment issue. You want to live in an area, of course, that's safe, as safe as possible. You want to also secure your home, secure your entry points, home security systems, cameras on the front, the back, the sides, any place, window sensors. You want to be able to feel safe in your home and also to feel that you are, if possible at all, to live in a very safe environment, community, neighborhood. You want to have emergency response systems, programs in place. And I'm not just talking about medical alert devices or emergency buttons, and by the shower. I'm talking about technology like visual cameras that can help, Alexa devices that you can use to call for help, but also being close enough to hospitals, fire departments, police departments, all of those types of programs, having them nearby can relieve a lot of stress, make you feel safer in your home environment. And that all is part of aging, and it's all part of planning, aging safely. intergenerational interaction, as I said before, can be a wonderful mental stimulation for a lot of older adults. I love how some of the nursing homes out in Europe, I believe in Denmark, I'm not 100% sure, but a lot of nursing homes there are now incorporating child daycare centers with the nursing home. So Monday through Friday, during the day, the nursing homes are also filled with children who are being taken care of in the daycare environment. So the older adults have the opportunity to interact with these younger children, these children, and it is stimulating. It's cognitively, of course, stimulating. It's mentally stimulating. It's a wonderful thing, and I do hope that we can incorporate that more here in the USA. But having that can be wonderful. I know some seniors like to move to college towns where they have that opportunity to be amongst that type of younger generation. And I think that's wonderful. Some seniors are moving to cities where they are also have the opportunity to live amongst the younger generation. I think that's wonderful. As long as, well, we're going to talk about ageism later, but as long as that isn't an issue in the area. You also want to make sure that there's accessible transportation. At some point or another, if you live long enough, you will be giving up the ability to drive or the opportunity of driving simply because your abilities are not there any longer to drive. So you want to make sure, even if it's just family, friends, community resources, whatever it is that you may have in your community, in your area, that can provide you with accessible transportation if and when you need it. I think that's very important. I know that's why a lot of older adults are moving to cities as well, simply because of the public transportations that are available there. And then I personally think green spaces are very important. It's wonderful to be able to walk outside into some greenery, be it your own yard, be it a park. I think a park is wonderful because it kind of forces you to walk and get out there. And I think it's very mentally stimulating. It's been proven over and over again that being out in nature is great for your cognition and great for your mental health, as well as your physical health as well, as long as the environment itself is not filled with pollution and noise and all of that. So the second component of environmental gerontology is social environment. And this has to do with social support. And social support is extremely important. I know my mom-in-law lived to 102. And one of the things that she lamented about was that she lived longer than all her family and her friends. So she felt very isolated. She tried very hard to make new friends, but it wasn't easy, and it didn't work out very well for her. So that's why I think it's so very important to stay connected to a cause, because people come and go. That's inevitable. People come and go, but the causes are always there. So if you belong to a political club, you belong to a church, an active a club, with a particular cause, be it environmental or health or I don't know, whatever, anything. And when you belong to that particular cause, then you are connected with like-minded people. So it doesn't matter the actual person that's there. Of course, you're going to make friends with particular people. But if they move or they pass away, you've got other people in that group, in that cause, to work with and to make new friendships with and to become a part of. So I think that is a very significant part of growing older. Even if you have to create your own cause, it doesn't matter. You want to do something that you can bring like-minded people in with you, or you join something. Of course, it's easier to join something than create your own thing. Social isolation is something you want to try and avoid. I myself am a bit of an introvert, so social isolation is not that difficult for me. I enjoy a large part of it, but I also recognize that if I go too many days Without social interaction, I can feel my mental health declining, my anxiety rising, my depression rising. So I know that I have to at least get out once every 2, 3 days to meet someone, speak to someone, even if it's online. It absolutely helps. I witnessed that myself very much after my husband passed away. It was very easy for me to become isolated. I didn't want to see, hear, or be near anyone for a long time. And that only made matters worse, honestly, looking back at it. But we don't know what we don't know, right? So as I said, community resources is a wonderful way to give yourself that cognitive stimulation, force yourself to get out of bed, interact with others, give yourself that ability to think about, outside your own little box, and to give back to others in the community. There's nothing better, I think, at the end of the day, than knowing that you made a change in someone else's life. And that's one of the reasons, actually, that we created the Aging in Place directory, because we wanted to be able to provide a service that wasn't available at the moment for everyone across the country and Canada, at the moment, to reach out and find these services that can make their lives easier, safer, and help them to live independently as long as possible. So part of social environmental components that I want to talk about is ageism. Now, ageism, I hear that spoken about most often when the parents of my friends, relatives, so forth, are talking about going to a physician's office. Oh, I have a pain in my shoulder or my neck, my fingers, whatever. And oftentimes they'll hear back. What they tell me is that they hear back from physicians saying things similar to, well, you're 89, what do you expect? Um, well, okay, yeah, I can see that. Yes, we're getting older and we are going to have some aches and pains, but that doesn't make it easier for me to accept it. And it certainly doesn't provide me with any type of a solution to ease the pain. I don't expect anyone to erase it, but if you can at least ease it. But that is ageism, is just assuming that because you're a certain age that, well, things are going to happen, or you are the way you are, or, you don't want to encounter that in your community. It makes it difficult to ascertain services. It makes it difficult to feel safe, honestly. So yes, if you move to a college town where there's a lot of young people and a lot of the services are catering to these young people, and you find that you yourself aren't getting these same services, you may be experiencing ageism. I'm not saying that all communities are like that, but if that is the particular case in your particular community, then you want to consider maybe another community, because you're not going to change the ageism in that community, but you can change the fact that you're living there. So there are also, environmental gerontology also looks at the stressors, the environmental stressors that are around us that can help to not only, increase the aging process, but make it also more difficult to age. One of them is noise pollution. The chronic exposure to high noise pollution can contribute to hearing loss, to cognitive decline, cardiovascular disease, and of course, mental wellness if you're constantly stressed by this sound. And that would be true mostly for people who live in cities, especially if you have never lived in a city, or it's been many years since you have lived in a city. All of a sudden, all that noise can become quite disturbing. So you want to consider those issues as you're aging. If you find that those issues don't bother you, that's not a problem, and your hearing seems to be fine, obviously get it tested, then you may not need to move to a quieter environment. But if you've always found all those noises to be nerve-wracking, then you may want to consider beginning the process of considering where to move to a quieter area. Air pollution, of course, is an issue, and I don't mean just air pollution outdoors, ozone levels, particulate matter issues in the, ash from nearby fires, anything like that. I'm also talking about indoor air pollution. My mother, who never smoked, never lived in a large city, died from pulmonary fibrosis, which she contracted because she worked 20 plus years in a dry cleaner. And the dry clean, all the chemicals that are in the dry cleaning, environment, they leached on, whatever the word is, to her lungs, and she developed pulmonary fibrosis, which she ended up passing away from. So indoor pollution is certainly an issue, not just where you work, but at home as well. So you want to take a look at anything that you can do to make that environment, your air, as clean as possible for yourself, especially if you already have issues related to your lungs. And a lot of people I know, not that I know personally, but I have read that issues such as eczema, psoriasis can also be exacerbated by the environment, by the air pollution and smoke, whatever, in the area. So you want to look at that. Climate change, as I said earlier, the extreme weather, the extreme heat, the extreme cold, tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, everything else that seems to be occurring more and more. All of those obviously exacerbate your mental health, your physical health, which then can all exacerbate your cognitive health. There's just so many issues related to all of those. So you want to accommodate your own physical health. Some older adults absolutely love living in colder environments. I'm one of them. Other older adults, like my sister, can't take anything, lower than 80 degrees. So they need a more warmer environment. There's so many factors, but it's important to try to accommodate what you can tolerate and what your body needs. The problem, of course, I know occurs, many older couples I know, one likes the cold, one likes the heat. Where do you go in between? I don't know. There's no solution to that I can say. The other issue is water and soil quality. Lately, there are so many recalls on products that we eat, everything from broccoli to cucumbers to lettuce. It doesn't just have to be, factory produced products, like chocolates or candies or, pasta. I don't know. There's so many products that are getting recalled because of listeria. Is it listeria or listeria? I'm not sure. But, or lead. They're just recently reading about chocolate having pieces of lead, components in them. Just so many of these environmental factors that you consume and ingest into your own physical environment, your body. All of those issues are very important to look at and to consider. And I think all of that is part of what environmental gerontology is trying to look at. Basically, the whole idea is making the person's environment as safe as possible. So that they can live as long as possible. So what are some of the solutions to all of these issues that I've been talking about? Well, one is age-friendly communities. I think it's so important that as we're getting older, once you're in your 40s, I personally think you should start thinking about age-friendly communities. Where do you want to live? What kind of community do you want to live in that can accommodate you as you grow older so that you don't have to keep constantly moving? I mean, unless that's something you really want to do. But you want to have, walkable streets, accessible public transportation, community centers, accessible health, police, fire departments. You want to access to nature. You want to make it and also safe. So any age-friendly type of communities that can accommodate um, all age groups that are universally designed are a wonderful communities to look. And there's so many of them now being developed as the aging population is 10,000 people a day turning 65, at least here in the USA. And that is going to continue well past 2030. So builders, architects, contractors are all very much aware of this and are working to accommodate that age group. So universal design, as I said, is basically incorporating universal design features into everything, into outdoor spaces, public buildings, residential homes. And it's not just for older adults, it's also for handicapped adults or disabled adults, anybody at all, and even children. Universal design can accommodate all of those age groups to make life safer and easier. I encourage everyone from 40 on to look into issues of universal design and become aware of what that is creating and what that entails, because I think it's important to know that and to then piece by piece incorporate that into your home environment and into your life. And who knows, it may spark a whole brand new career for you. Environmental modifications, of course, we always talk about that here at Aging in Place Directory, about, making changes to your home, everything from non-slip flooring to installing grab bars, to installing ramps that don't look like ramps, to, making easy, senior-friendly landscaping for gardening, modifying the kitchen, pull-out drawers, and just all kinds of things, your residential elevators, stair lifts, everything. There's so much that can be done to make a home um, as safe as possible for all age groups, especially as you're getting older. And with the price of homes and these days, more and more people are opting to stay at home, which makes total sense. But at the same time, you want that home to be as safe as possible so that you can stay there for as long as possible. So what can you personally do to try to help create some of these? Well, obviously, policy developments in your community are a big issue. So getting involved in your community government or just in your community groups to try to alter the policies of the area towards more age-friendly, senior-friendly type of changes, in the parks, universal design type of features. I think that's very important. Getting involved in community groups. Again, as I said before, finding a cause and then being involved in that cause is such a great way to grow older, to give back to the community, and to be as useful a human being as possible for as long as possible. And then healthcare providers, there are many rural areas that you have to drive miles and miles in order to get any kind of healthcare service. But unfortunately, here in the USA, healthcare is really ruled by the dollar. At least that's my experience. If yours is different, let me know. But a great way to get healthcare companies, hospitals, services to come to a rural area is to provide the type of information that they need to show to them that a good significant portion of the population in that particular area can benefit from their services and can pay for their services. So if 62% of a specific geographical area is on Medicare, then that's a very good demographic. That's a very good number to help a healthcare company realize that they should build an urgent care center there, or an extension of a hospital there, or bring in more physicians there, anything like that. Those are the types of things that can help to bring services into the area. Of course, again, being involved in community groups and in your local government are all the ways to understand what is currently being done to do all of that, and how can you help and contribute. So those are the issues involving environmental gerontology. So let me know what you think. Give me your comments. Of course, subscribe to our channel. Our podcast, and this will, of course, also be aired on our YouTube channel. Give me your comments there as well. I'm always curious to know how other people are thinking. What is their experience with some of these issues? And hopefully, if I can help in any way, I certainly would love to, but I love the discussion. All right. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time on episode 14. Take care. Bye.